Hello, and welcome to Coffee with Cassie's Mom. We're here to discuss how parents can be involved with their student and have a more successful college experience. I'm here with Professor Krug. He's an accounting professor at JCCC. Welcome, Professor Krug.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
I know as a parent of a college student, I struggled with how much to be involved in their academic experience. Could you give me some insight as a parent on how much or how little to be involved?
It's a great question, and it's always a part of life when you have to start to let go, and you have to let your child and the student kind of own it a little bit. I think one of the best things that a parent can do to encourage their student or their child is to relax. We live in a place in Johnson County where everybody is in a hurry to get through. They want their high school student to have 30 credit hours before they leave high school. I think we all just need to slow down and relax a little bit because it's really more important that that educational experience be a positive one than a fast one. I mean, it's much better to come to the end in 6 years with something that you really like and something that's valuable to the workplace than get through in 4 years with something that you don't enjoy or that is not needed in the workplace. So I always tell students and their parents, let's everybody just slow down and relax. That brings up another subject that I like to tell parents, and I believe in letting a student educationally wander. We don't encourage students to educationally wander. And what do I mean by that? Well, I have a son that's going to school this semester, and I told him, I want you to just pick out a few classes that look interesting to you. I don't care if they have to do with a career track or a degree track. Just something that looks interesting. And sometimes we do exactly the opposite with our kids. We say, you got to get through quick, and we're going to enroll you in those basics. Take all those classes, speech and English and algebra that you need, and take those. And sometimes those are the subjects that the student least wants to take. And it kind of gets them off on the wrong foot, perhaps. So don't be afraid to tell your student to find some classes that just sound interesting, and let's not worry so much about where they fit into the big plan. And that's one of the things that I love about JCCC is because it's affordable to be able to educationally wander. If somebody goes straight from high school to a major university where tuition is $500 a credit hour, there's no time for wandering. You get through and get through quickly. But here, I would really take advantage of that opportunity to be able to learn some new things because all education is going to be valuable.
In my child's high school experience, it seems like we had a lot more dialogue on picking classes. And so as a parent, the first thing that some of us want to do is to look through the catalog with our child and help them pick out their classes and maybe even things that we enjoyed in college. But maybe we're seeing some reluctancy with our student. Is there a way that we could help our student in this area on picking out classes?
Well, this reminds me of my number one piece of advice that I give students, and I give parents of incoming students. I think one of the most important decisions that a new student will make their first semester of college, whether it be at JCCC or somewhere else, is you want the first semester to be a wonderful semester. And to me, you increase the probability of that if you have great professors. If you have professors who are very engaging, if you have professors who love to spend time with students, if you have professors who are passionate about their subjects. So what I would say is this. Don't wait until a week before the semester starts to start talking about picking out classes and picking out professors, because it's like everything else. The most popular professors, their classes will be filled, okay? So talk to your advisor early on in the process, months before enrollment if you're talking about fall, and talk to them as far as what types of professors are these? Are these people who have they really enjoy spending time with the students, they're available, they're engaging, they're interesting, and you want to find those individuals. My son started at JCCC this fall, and while I don't want to be a helicopter parent, I did help him pick out professors because I know the very best ones. And he has an all-star team of professors. He loves all of them. But you contrast that sometimes with, unfortunately, people will show up at college a week before and they're trying to put a schedule together and picking through classes that aren't full. And sometimes it's a little bit like choosing a Valentine's Day card at 9 p.m. on February the 14th. Students talk amongst themselves and they talk to each other. There's websites that talk about different professors, and certainly your advisors know professors' reputations. Figure out your schedule early on in the game. Figure out when enrollment starts, the very day, the very first hour you can enroll. Go enroll in that chosen slate of classes with those awesome professors. And that is the very best piece of advice I can give new students and parents of new students.
That's great. I also have a freshman son here, and he had the benefits of having a sister go through in previous years. So if we are having our first experience here and we don't know any of the professors.
Well, there are websites devoted to this. It's just a lot different than when you and I were in school and we just had to talk amongst ourselves. And you know, some people like those websites, some people don't. But if there are 80 recommendations about a professor and 75 of them are positive, you've got a pretty good idea that that is going to be an engaging professor. And it goes the other way as well.
Yeah.
Faculty advisors. We have great advisors here in the counseling department. Just a wonderful group of people. And if you meet with them early, don't wait until the last minute, but meet with them early and say, hey, I really would love to find an engaging professor that really the students really seem to enjoy. Who would that be? They'll tell you. They know the faculty. And then, of course, you talk amongst your peers. Maybe you know people who've been here in previous years. Ask them, who was your favorite professor? Well, let me put it this way, Fawn. I would rather have my son take 5 classes that are unrelated to a degree track with 5 wonderful professors than 5 classes in their track where that's not the case. Because my goal is I want my son to feel excited and positive about the college experience.
You have a lot of good tips there. I can see with our own children that when they get into classes that bog them down or they're not really ready for, it can be really discouraging. So you had a lot of great tips on finding passionate teachers, who to talk to. Just really appreciate those insights.
You bet. I'm glad to help.
Is there anything else along these lines?
Make sure that you're not only looking at 4-year degrees. There are some 2-year certificates, there are some 2-year degrees that are absolutely wonderful. If you go through the electrician program here at JCCC, for example, you will probably have greater job security than I will ever have because everyone needs electricians. If the electricity goes out in your building, you need an electrician, even if the economy is down. You can't outsource an electrician. And I think as parents, a lot of our goals are that our child become independent financially and career-wise, and that they can be on their own and that they can have a job and have a family. And that is often obtained through getting a 4-year degree, but not only obtained through getting a 4-year degree. There's a lot of different educational tracks that a student can go through and reach that goal.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing those. That's all for today. You can find out more tips on Coffee with Cassie's Mom menu, or for you students, Coffee with Cassie. I have one thing to leave you with. Take time today and go play.